here working in the. I'm back in the garage. Just what you guys wanted to see me tinker on stuff, right? Might as well. Whoa! I put some different carpet down, and everything's all wobbly and not straight. Oh, but yeah, I was waiting to go live, and I decided that this cart isn't going to put itself together. Although the components, I want to do a video on bearings and stuff. I have all the bearings laid out, but I had ordered a ultrasonic cleaner, so I will also be doing something on that. So there's that. But yeah, hopefully people pop in here. Oh goodness, the lighting's not the best in this garage. I really should get some like floor lighting, but the aisles will be fixed as soon as we're out of winter. It's nice enough that I can be out in the barn now, so I prefer to be out in the barn. Just feel more myself out here, especially talking about racing. But we're whack, it's starting to get dark here in New York, so it is what it is. We'll have to deal with it for a little bit. So what is going on, guys? Just kind of, I figured I'd tinker a little on the Recon while we do a little chin whack. What's going on, Ben? Nice. 80 here in Mississippi. Really? Wow. I pick on New York because it's New York. Today was like a 65-ish degree day, 60, 65. We had the doors open at the shop. It's currently probably, I don't know, 45 or so. And this is for a New Yorker, this is perfectly fine weather. A little beanie cap, and a sweatshirt, good to go. No big deal. Watching me in high limit. Nice. That's Christopher Bell's doing high limit this week, right? I don't pay super close attention to that, but I am aware of the series and everything, and that Chris Bell's gets to do that. But at Jasper, I love that track. I was there that one time for, was it 2019 for the Grand Nationals? Fantastic facility, super nice. I love it in Florida. I can't talk my wife into moving down there. She says it's too hot, and I'm like, it'd be a real bummer being able to race almost all year long, except for dead of summer. I hear they take a break down there during that time, but whatever. So we stop racing somewhere around October-ish in New York, give or take. Definitely by November we're done. So November, December, January, February, March. We don't really start. You can go down south in March if you want, but basically if you want to race up here, you have to wait till April. So that's 5 to 6 months that you don't get to race up here. To whereas down in Florida, down in the Carolinas, you guys may take a pause here or there. You may, call it a winter shootout, but it's your version of winter and my version of winter, completely different. Never been there. It's almost 5 hours. Right? It's a fantastic facility. I still, to this day, I'll always the disparity in how Southern racing and what you guys consider rough. There was like a storm had come through the night before at Jasper, and there was like one kind of the rain had left a little divot. It ran across the track, a little divot coming out of 4, and I remember seeing the owner, the dude with the scar, and he was just like, he was apologizing. I'm sorry, the track's so rough, and it was just like, I've been on tracks up north at a cobblestone, bud. Like, just the entire time. So this is that little boop. It was just it was a timing thing and how you hit it. Did you want to get full throttle before you hit the bump? After you hit the bump, it was definitely a timing thing. Yeah, your version of rough track and our version of rough track is completely separate. Yeah, March 20th. Yep. So you guys start probably a month-ish sooner than us. Clone, Tennessee. Yeah. Tennessee. Masters. There's got to be some benefit to being slightly older. Turn up my brightness here. I know put you guys. I just want to be able to see you guys and what you're writing a little better. Yeah, there's the Masters thing. The being slightly older. I kind of look forward to whenever there's a class like that, and I qualify for it, and then the young bucks can't beat up on me too bad. That'll be fantastic. Uh, American Muscle Cart TV. That reminds me. Uh, I'm gonna pronounce his last name wrong because I feel like a jerk. I should know this. Jason Fox, Foux, Fox. They are firing up the Texas UAS. Awesome. I love to see new or reimagining of UAS series. Um, obviously with karting in general had taken a downturn, and UAS was no different. It kind of the numbers petered off. I really hope that it'll come back to what it once was. I think there's just I've been in UAS racing open stuff for a long time, and there's waves just like karting. It goes up, it goes down. Sometimes there's just everybody gets on an open and they're like, hey, this is great, and other times it fades off, and then everybody starts just griping and oh, it's the rules, it's the blood, it's the engines, it's the blah blah blah, and it's just like, man, will you everybody calm down? It'll be fine. Just keep going at it. Keep keep the faith, man. Everybody loves high horsepower stuff. You see it with say Chase Williamson. Here's a guy who is doing exceptionally well in his we'll say young career, but I don't know how long he's been at it, but obviously for a while. But him getting on an open has proved to be pretty good for him. He's fast and he knows what he wants, and even the high horsepower stuff, I think it's fantastic. 10,000 win limit. Oh yeah, yeah. So I just got done watching Super Duper South today. I say watching. I kind of watched it, but I more listen to stuff. Like I'll watch videos at work, but I have my earbud in while I'm doing body work and this and that. And yeah, Tatum was putting on a new body. It was super sweet looking A&M fiberglass. Those bodies, I think I've shared them before on my Facebook page, but super looking sparkly. Really, he had like a green sparkly thing. Anyway, he was mounting a body, and he was talking about how he's going to go to that 10,000 a win limited race at Jasper, and he didn't want to run his new body, and I don't blame him. I always have that. It's the first thing when Walt came into the picture. We got a Bama. I think we got an Ultramax Exceed and put the Bama on it. We went all the way down to Mississippi to race it at the Grand Nationals down there at Why Not Speedway. And the first thing I did, brand new C high performance body, and I smoked a tire with it. I just let's get that out of the way. Anything brand new, I could. My old man says I could break an anvil with a feather, and he's not wrong. Oh, cool! I got a message from my engine builder. What he's been using. Hopefully I'll be doing a video on cleaning the carburetors on clone engines. And just in general, when I get my ultrasonic cleaner, I was gonna get one all winter long, and then how we always think that Harbor Freight is the cheapest. I went on to Harbor Freight. Their ultrasonic cleaners I'm not in the club, I don't pay the fee or whatever, so it was like $87. And I was just like, all right, well, that seems a little pricey. And I jumped on Amazon real quick because I'm, much like a lot of people, I'm a Prime member, and it was $59 for essentially the same thing, or at least same size unit. So I got that coming. Should be coming. It should be coming Saturday, tomorrow. No, wait, today's Thursday. It'll come Saturday. Anyway, yeah. So I got to clean. I want to use it to clean a bunch of parts and make sure everything's nice. It'll be nice to have here to be able to throw stuff in and just get it, kind of set it aside. And yeah, Ernie, why not was fast. super big track. I was bummed with that because we were we were changing around stuff. We were doing this and that. We had, we were brand new to the Bama platform, so it was a new experience. We were, we had we had tried the bully clutch, and then we had gotten, I think, Lacatus the Gator clutches, and we're bouncing back and forth, and we shouldn't have been. We should have been better prepared for the situation, and I think between flopping between the we're did we change engines? We might have changed engines, and something was going on with one, so we put the other one on, and then the alignment of the jack shaft wasn't right lined up, and then we thought we had it, went out for the feature, and I may have made it, I don't know, 4 or 5 laps before and off the chain came. That's there's been numerous times I've been at Grand Nationals and I've lost the chain, which is ridiculous. I should know better than that. I should be better prepared than that. But it was it was kind of a last minute thing. We had gotten the Bama at the end of the season. I had it on my '04 Truck Olympic Panaz. Won a race on it, won a quarter point race on it. Weren't really in the point system or as far as going to win the championship or anything. But Walt's like, we happened to get a hold of C and got the seat up here, and then I think we got a run on it. Maybe we didn't get a run on it, but we put the Bama on. I think Walt might have bought another Bama for backup. I think that's what happened, and then we went down there, and then it was just it was a bit of a crap show as far as our performance and everything. But it was good that I'd never been to Mississippi before. That was quite the trip. Senate cleaners are great. Worth it. Yeah, that's I should have I should have had one this entire time, but I legit like I'm very cheap. Uh, I like to buy stuff. I have a spending problem, but I'm very cheap when it comes to stuff. Obviously, here I am rebuilding a chassis. I was down at JC Specialties 2 weekends ago, and I wanted to just take one of those off the wall and bring it home with me, and then be building that. But I don't have that kind of money. I'll tell you, the cleaner is worth it. Way to go. Yeah, that's I don't know. We'll see about it. It was, I think it was a recommended purchase or whatever they call it. It was one of the most popular on Amazon. So I know that's it is what it is. They're all essentially Chinese junk, if you want to call them that. But if people are repeatedly buying them, and I didn't see they got decent ratings on it, decent reviews on it. So I was like, all right, it's worth a shot. You're always keep the box when you buy stuff from Amazon because you never know. I think I bought I bought it before I got my Apple Watch. I bought a like a off brand whatever. I was like, oh, spend $30 on this thing, and it less than a month. It was the end of that. So I just took the money and put it to return that and put it back to an actual Apple Watch. Oh, yeah, I gotta find a bolt. All right, so this is this is the situation I got going on. I got my table out here, and what I'm so far behind, but this is the mess I'm dealing with. That is pretty much my cart. There's my Nerf bars, and this is the rest of the shop. That I got the floor at least a little swept up before this because I was embarrassed that I was going to have you guys on here, um, and I was going to be in my girl shop, but you guys, I'm out here when I record videos. The only thing is the only thing you see is this, and then I also brought out Mr. Cooper's thing. Thought that was. I still like this thing. Still like this thing. That thing's rad. Yeah, it's me. But yeah, there's when it's when it's not in use. That's what that looks like. I also have a whole bunch of tires. Like I got to think John. Boy, is it beginning of April? AMS has a swap meter or whatever. I got a crap ton of like old Burris that I'm probably just gonna give away. Um, they'll be in a pile and say take them because they're just. I tried to run them last year. They're really good for a hard track, but it's not what we have up around here. You could prep the snot out of them if you want. I just didn't want to. I got some fresh 11s right there. I'm going to have some 33s, maybe some more 11s coming. We'll see. Uh, I think any manufacturers will follow what Premier's doing. Possibly, it would be nice. I can assure you of that. That would be amazing. But um, I think that we all as consumers could really hope for more manufacturers to do what Premier's doing. Hey, win our stuff. Here's a bonus check or this and that. But also, I don't know if there'd be, some of them might have they don't want to be copycat mentality. That was a stew break. So I don't know. It would be awesome. I think it'd be a great idea. I think that tire manufacturers, that would be a great idea to promote your product. Hey, this is an open tire race. If you win on ours and you show us that you won on yours, we'll add a bonus. I think that'd be fantastic. Do I think anybody would do it? It's you never know. Uh, it'd be a lot cooler if you did, man. It would. I think it'd be fantastic if they got into the back into that into hey, you went on our stuff. What sells on Saturday sells on Monday type of mentality. I think it would be fantastic. I mean, obviously, I did have that written down. It's been beaten to death so far. I didn't engage. I was going to make a video on it, and I thought, you know what? It's the ultimate Kart Media guys hit it. Also, Four Takes and Fuel hit it, and I was like, I don't want to be just adding fuel to fire. The whole it was a Jamie Knopf winning, the hobby stock, and then big to do about that, and what is hobby stock, and this and that. Um, that's up, and I agree with the Four Takes Fuel guys. It was up to the promoter to put restrictions on that. As it turns out, I think they said on the podcast that it was a Ducar class. So is that hobby? Hobby would suggest to me that it was Predator. See, what I consider hobby stock up here would be you can be on find newer chassis, okay, but Predator class. That's. But I think a true hobby class, in my opinion, would be Predator on, say, a 10-year-old chassis. Those are the parameters. You have to be on something that's old. I don't know, you could throw in tire rules or whatever like that, or Duro rules or something like that if you really wanted to. But basically, a Predator class. Um, I think that the word hobby just suggests that it shouldn't be the elite guys. Got no qualms against it. I think that the money was put up. They went by the rules. They play by the rules. They won by the rules. Man got paid. Fantastic. I got no qualms about it whatsoever. But yeah, it's yeah, is what it is. I don't think a Ducar class anyway. I don't know much about the Ducar engine, although just that it is a more reputable, reliable version of the Predator is my opinion of it. That's about all I know about it. We don't have Ducar up here yet. Maybe eventually. Um, More reliable. That'd be cool. I wouldn't hate that. They're still fairly inexpensive, but I think that in my mind, at least, hobby would suggest a little older chassis and Predator engine with maybe an RPM rule or something like that. Just my opinion. But then again, it could be modern chassis, and maybe it would fit right into what Premier's doing. It's there much to do about nothing. Maybe is my opinion on that. UKK changed the big event. Nice. Yeah, I mean, and that's so GKK doing that, going open tire. I mean, it's arguable that everybody thinks that Maxxis is the fastest tire down south, which I was on Maxxis when I was down there. Obviously, the winner when I was down there for the Grand Nationals was on Maxxis. Okay, cool. Everybody knows what they're working with, but it opens the door. It opens the door for maybe supposedly the new version of. I haven't heard much about that lately. The Reaper Pro, but maybe it opens the door for the Reaper Pro to come in. Maybe it opens the door for AJC to come in, and maybe that's where contingency money could come from. Maybe that's a thing. Like, hey, you go out on AJC tires and you whoop up on some Maxxis, you win some major races against these guys on our tires. We're gonna offer you a bonus. That'd be rad. I think it'd be really, really cool. Absolutely. Yep. I super respect all the guys doing anything cart related for social media. Obviously, I made a list of everybody, and I don't want to forget anybody, but Super Duper South and Degenerate Garage and all those guys, doing the strictly YouTube stuff, and then the podcast with Four Takes of Fuel, and then the Ultimate Cart Media doing the Facebook thing. I think it's all excellent stuff. I think everybody, it's the way rising tide raises all ships. And I think that's a bonus for you guys, for myself, for anybody doing this. I think it's, maybe we're a little slow in the karting industry to get onto social media the way we are. We've always used it as a promotional tool. You'll see it on Dirt Kart Racer and stuff. Anytime anybody shares a flyer, I'm getting I'm trying my best to keep track of it, but I'm trying to run this channel and do my own thing and everything else. I keep on with the Dirt Kart Racer, trying to share like races that are coming up, flyers and what have you. But it's always kind of been used that way back where Bob's Sports Cycle was. Now it's more so Facebook that you're doing it, but now you're seeing a little more pop up on YouTube and in podcast form and TikTok and all that stuff, to where we're really I think it's coming in to do its own, and it's really nice to see that the people making YouTube channels and stuff. I think it's all just excellent. So I had a major issue of my cart when you're. Yeah. Find far back to move it back. All the way left. So in general, not always, but in general, we can look at it. It's a mess. I didn't wash my open cart, because I knew I had to tear it down. I'm just an excuse for being lazy, basically. All right. Back of the seat should be thereabouts of rear axle, give or take. That is not a definite. You have to follow this rule, but in general, the back of your seat should be thereabouts around your rear axle. But I would more so go with your percentages, where you want that to be. What do you got? I moved it all the way left and all the way back. It went from 54 to 64 cross. And it's a low cross cart. Okay. So loading your left rear is going to cause your cross to go up. That is, obviously cross is left rear to right front. There's pressure points. So the more you move back and to the left, it is going to load your left rear, which is going to raise your cross. So yeah. Based on that. Oh boy, yeah. I did raise. I think it was this. I think it was a clone cart, because I was dealing with that whole left side. I want to find out. I don't want to make it, I guess I could have Motorworks make a custom plate for me for the clone, to get the clone over right more, so I could be more centered in the cart, so I could get some left out of it. It's just, running up here, it's great. The numbers that they give you for Phantom, give you, say, 59 to 61% left. Fantastic for down south, and I can hit those numbers. But up here, we'd have a tendency to run a little lower cross, a little lower left, because of our lack of bite, and get the right side really to bite into the. Well, it's a problem. It's a problem for me, because I am 222 pounds by my last weight. And I'm sure I'm not the only one that has that problem. You overload the left without trying. I don't know how close I can get to the engine with it still being fairly comfortable. Uh, the video you talked made. Okay. So in your video, you talked a little bit about the Demon Racing chassis. Were you saying it's more of a forgiving chassis for tires? Or did y'all talk about the chassis and how it's made and what type? Yeah, that's so when I was having a conversation with Denver down there about Denver Smith, DSE. I put a sticker up there, DSE, about it, and I had suggested that what I see because I like to, it's just in my nature. I love. I'm not an engineer, but I like engineering. I like the art of building a cart chassis, moving the bars, what they do, different tubing thicknesses, what they do, this and that. And my perception of it, and what I told him was that there's nothing super crazy about the design. That doesn't mean it's boring. It doesn't mean it's run of the mill. It doesn't mean any of that stuff. But it was very purposefully built not to be super crazy. Now, one might argue that some of the crazier bends and weld points on some of the other chassis allow the chassis to be a little faster. That may or may not be true, but the more standard design of the Demon Racing chassis lends itself to be a bigger window, bigger tire window, that is more built for your Saturday night racer. But it's still Alex Sayer. I, I'm terrible with names, guys. I apologize. But he won open modified at one of the indoor races on a Demon Racing chassis on the Asylum. So it it's obviously fast enough to compete with some of the best out there, some of the that's higher horsepower stuff. So that tends to tell me that a very forgiving chassis, more, but more oriented towards your Saturday night racer, not so much your, hey, we're trying to eke every little bit of speed out of something. You'll find that throughout the history of cart chassis and where the bends have gone and this and that, that you can design, like we'll take the Phantom Deuce for instance. Now there are people that absolutely hate the Deuce, there are people that love the Deuce. The Deuce had exceptional roll speed because of that double tube on the left side. It didn't scrub off speed, so straight line speed was exceptional. Um, that chassis was probably one of the fastest I've ever been on. One of the more difficult to get it into the tire window that you needed. You had to be, it was on an open at least, because that's where I ran it. I didn't run it on a clone. On an open, it was almost violent slamming down the left rear when you're coming out of the corner. It's those, the extras that you put on our cart chassis sometimes that it can either lend itself to be an extraordinarily fast chassis or, you know, I'd argue that the Ultramax gives more variability. Yes, there's with the Evolve, yes, there's more unconventional bends, there's unconventional mounts and stuff, but it also opens up a window of what type of surface are you on? It's designed more for, hey, we're not just designing it for a southern style track, we're designing it to be adaptable to the whole United States type of thing. And I think that's where also that the Demon lends itself, because it's not a radical design. It's very, very to the point. It's long-winded answer, but that was, I was talking with Denver for quite a bit. Very, very knowledgeable, very interesting person, very nice person. If you ever, he puts his name out there or his number out there, it's like you can. I don't suggest you blow up his phone, but you can if you want. Super duper nice guy. Uh, Racer. Because those I would have a setup sheet for Trick Apex. Oh, 05. Um, researching a run champion speedway trick. I had a Trick Apex. I had the Panaz, which was an '04, and then I had a Apex, um, which was an '05. I bought them both off of Rich Christman. He ran them on an open, and I ran them as opens as well. From my knowledge, what I recall, lower cross chassis, but the Apex was getting more up in the cross numbers. Um, I would suggest probably. Well, right. Geez, I hate to give you anything, you know, crazy to put on there, but my base, if I'm suggesting to anybody a low cross cart setup, it'd be like 45, 5 nose. Probably up here, especially, I would suggest maybe 57 left. But um, with the apex, normally with the Panaz, I'd say 52 to 55 cross. I'm going to say more of the 58 range in cross. So yeah, I'd say 57 left, 58 cross, and like 45 5 nose. Again, with if you're running at champion, stagger, rear stagger. It's a very flat, paper clippy type of thing. So, I'd say bare minimum inch and 3/8 to inch and a half, maybe even more. Rear stagger, really get the thing to turn. Don't worry about killing your roll speed there so much. I think you're going to make up for your straightaway speed in the turn by far. But that's my opinion. Um, so much drama and politics and karting. Yeah, yeah. I try and I have opinions on things, but I leave the door open for dissenting views as best I can. I may not completely agree with something, but I never harshly come out. I try and understand the other side as best I can. I may not agree. That goes for my politics too, which I don't discuss on here. But I may understand where you're coming from, but I wholeheartedly disagree, and I'll argue the point against you. Um, but there's people love drama, and I just it's too much. It really is too much. I'll give you an opinion on stuff. I say, hey, you can look at it this way, you can look at it that way. But, either way, let's try to come to some conclusion that benefits the whole of everybody. Karting as a whole. It's not worth being a dink about stuff and keeping. I don't know. There's people always have uh, a reason for doing something, and usually it's to benefit themselves. It just might, and it's fine. It's racing, it's competition. I'm not, I should be a little more close-lipped about stuff, but then I wouldn't have a kart channel, would I? I wouldn't be able to talk about things with you guys. I've said a million times. We'll take, for example, a long time ago, we used to race at a place called Lime Rock Speedway in Caledonia, New York, and on opens and everything. And my buddy Tommy needed a cart. He had an engine, and I threw him on my cart, and he beat me with it. And he said it was uncomfortable to race, but it was fast. And that goes for anything. If my numbers, everybody's going to have different numbers. Everybody's going to have a different feel. There is no set box that anybody falls into. If I jump into somebody's setup, I could probably hate it. I could hate that their tires are too hard, they're too soft, there's not enough air. I didn't like where the prep came in. Maybe it came in too soon. Maybe it came in too late. There's a whole host of things that you know, I know it's a big no can do down south or wherever to come over and punch somebody's tires or touch their tires, even that could get you a black eye. Don't do that unless it's me. Come over, say, Ben, what are you running for Duro? 52. What do you got on them? Oh, 4 wipes, black sand, and Acrosol. Oh, okay. That's what they're doing? I don't punch them. See what they're doing. I don't care. Good luck. I, if you have all the knowledge I have and I still go out and beat you, that's a feather in my cap. But I know not everybody's like that, so don't be touching people's tires. I could I could see that being a real sore subject with people. But yeah, long story short, they're unnecessary for the drama. Unnecessary. I don't think it does anybody a bit of good. I get people getting upset about things, but once you're upset, let it go. I generally am like that at a track. If you rack me and I'm pretty pissy with you, just give it a little bit. I'll be fine. It's just you got to let me blow off steam and kind of rant and rave and just It's like, give me a minute. Once my head cools down, I'll be all right. Uh, okay, what do we got now here to make a podium speed? If you're, yeah, Lee, that's Tyler's, got you on that. There are kart races are not easy to win. Uh, it is everybody on the outside of karting. When I'm referencing this, everybody on the outside of karting thinks that, oh, they're go karts, they're easy to win, and no, they're not. If you wanted to dump immensely, like Tyler just said, if you want to dump immense amount of money, if you want to have somebody set up your cart, if you want to have somebody, do your tires for you, if you're willing to essentially pay for a ride, you're going to have more success quicker. Now, in my opinion, it will be fleeting because if you were to just come in with an open checkbook and, hey, get me to the front, get me the wins, it's going to be pretty cool. But if you don't always have those funds, if you don't always have that knowledge, if you don't always have those people helping you do what you just did, and it comes back on you to understand how to make that cart fast, you're gonna right back to the back to whereas it is much like this. I kind of had this thought today. I was talking with my coworker about it, that I built the channel from the ground up. It wasn't a gift from anybody kind of thing. A viral video got me a bunch, some followers and stuff, but it was still something I did that gained me. And the racing is the same way. That if you don't have to start in squalor, don't get me wrong, you can enter in with very reliable, good stuff. But don't expect that, hey, I bought a brand new chassis, I should win, because that is not the case. Because there are people on older chassis that have been doing a lot longer that know what to do with that particular track with the tires, that are you're going to be like, wow, how are they so fast? They're on a chassis that's 10 years older than mine. It's a knowledge thing. And if you can kind of, obviously watch my channel, but in general, if you're at the track longer, if you really invest yourself in the culture of racing and talk with a bunch of people, and don't, just wholeheartedly believe in one person, don't always believe in me. I'm often wrong. My wife will assure you of that. But absorb as much as you can. Try and understand as much as you can about karting in general. Like I can reminisce back to, I was just, a shoe for hire, if you want to call me that. When my dad and I got into kart racing, he got me into it, and I was just a pilot. I've told this story on a video before, that he says, "What's it doing?" And I went like this, and he's just like, "I can't adjust for that." I was just like, it was the Tom Cruise moment, that I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what loose is. I don't know what tight is. I don't know how to fix this or tell you how to fix this. It was just not in my knowledge base. And then he moved to Florida. I did not want to give up kart racing, so I took it upon myself to teach myself how to I rebuilt my first carburetor on a KT100, and then I started to understand. Okay, this adjustment did this adjustment did that. You have a lot of failures before you have the successes, and then eventually, over all this time, he left probably. He went down to Florida in, was it my fourth year of racing, maybe fifth year of racing. So ever since then, with the exception of Walt, it's been me. It's been me just finding just reading Bob Forcycle and any kind of information I want, or you could grasp a hold of, going to the track as often as I could to learn. Hey, that didn't work. Man, I got smoked on that. Hey, it's a learning process. Like I said, you can pay your way to the front, but if you don't have the knowledge base to fall back on, you might encounter problems eventually. Uh, we ran a trick Apex list for years and did pretty well with it. Yeah, yeah, it's very solid chassis. Huge fan of. I was always a huge fan of Trick, and I had planned for a long time on staying on Trick. Like, I looked at that was back when was it Redemption, the Monster. My glasses are always freaking crooked. and all those chassis came out, and then obviously, I dipped my toe in the world of Slack and also Ultramax and eventually Phantom. But I was sold on the trick stuff, and I think that Mark Mode makes fantastic stuff now. I don't think he produces as much as he used to. Very inventive guy, very very knowledgeable about what he wants the cart to do. I like the shoot. Can't think of the recent name of the chassis, but they are a sexy design. I really enjoy him. He's always had fantastic designs. I wish and maybe a point in his life that he doesn't want to try and compete with the likes of Phantom or Premier or Ultramax or any of those guys. I get it, but it's a bummer because I think he makes some of the coolest stuff out there. Just as I get on the podium. Yep. Yep. Yeah, Doug's got a real good point there. Do you run different air pressure or set for each side? I always run a split unless unless I want to tighten the cart just a hair. Like if the cart's really really good, but I could just use a little more snuggy. Say I'm running 3 and 4, split 4 on the right, 3 on the left. If I need to tighten it up just a skosh for the feature, I'll go to 4 and 4 or 3 and 3, depending. But yeah, I don't know if do you run different area. Yeah, best I can answer that as I understand that question, Donald. Uh, Seasons. Do you see yourself ever doing? Yeah, I would love to do indoor racing. I'm a New Yorker, so it's tough. Like I love racing, and I should want to go and travel and do it all year long, but I essentially I spend all my money during the summer racing, every chance I can get, doing whatever I'm doing. And then by the time, winter falls, we obviously Christmas and this and that, but, I'm usually in financial straits by then. As far as my race funds go, uh, my wife and I have, a non-verbal agreement. It's kind of verbal, but it's not really that I don't ever impose any financial harm on our household with my racing. If I can acquire money via sponsorship, if I can acquire money via YouTube, however, overtime, whatever it is, that money is Ben's money. That's Ben's race money. But I am not to ever make it tough on the household to pay the bills, which I think is very reasonable. And I've stood by it for years now. Have I had a little bit of cart fund money that has gone to things for the household? Yes. Unfortunately, I've probably lost thousands of dollars that way out of my cart fund, but it's all for the greater good. It's unless the mortgage gets paid, unless the electric gets paid, it's all for naught anyway. I'm not going to race, when I don't have my lights on or anything like that. So it's just when I get the winter, it's been such a repetitive thing that I've been racing for 20 whatever years that that's the way it works. I kind of blow my wad, so to speak, during the summer months, and then I'm broke racer all through the winter. I use that time to accumulate some fundage and get obviously buy parts and this and that and get prepared for the next season, have my engine rebuilt, all that stuff, and then do it all over again. So I'd love to race during the winter. I'd love to make you know, that leap, but also financially, it's going to put a burden on the following season. And I also hate the cold. So uh, I'm not a real big fan of going and racing, even if it was awesome. Uh, it would be hard for me to be out in the cold. I really don't like it. Uh, Absolutely. Yep. Uh, Even with unlimited funds, you still need it. Yes. There's no replacing race reps. That is a for definite thing. Anytime you can get the race, anytime if the kart track offers a practice night or anything like that, or if you can multiple times a week. There's a bunch of Friday night tracks here now. So I could race Friday and Saturday, every week throughout the summer and really get those race reps in. And I bet you, if I could, or anybody else for that matter, I'm talking about me though. If I could afford to do that, I would become even better of a racer in general. But yes, I think Phantom will stay around as it goes to his daughter taking over. I think so. Is it Brittany? I think it's Brittany. Um, she's been, as the kids say, low key behind the scenes for a while. Um, I really think so. I think her intent was to, maybe I think Carol even said, he didn't know that she would want to do that. And he didn't know eventually when he would shut her down or whatever. But if you want to go back and listen to the Four Takes and Fuel podcast, when they had Harold on, I think it was the beginning of the year. Really, really awesome episode. But he kind of goes into that with her getting married, and I believe her husband's an engineer of some sort. But I think it just kind of, her husband kind of bolstered the idea of like, hey, this can be a continuing thing that once Harold decides to retire or just not do it as often. I think that it's in good hands, in my opinion. I really do think it is. I think there's going to be a little change of the landscape and the way things are done, which is fantastic. But James Stanley being there, he is a highly knowledgeable, real good dude. I bantered back and forth with him in Messenger, and I'm sure that they're in for a lot of years, especially you have success like with the Tricon being released this year. Why would you stop now? You could run that chassis for a while, and then karting's gonna. I'm sure there's gonna be little things that pop up this and that over the years, but it's my opinion that they'll be around. They've been around this long. When did they come in? 92, something like that. They've been around a while. I don't foresee it. And plus, Harold also says, they do less business than they used to, but they were doing some, fabrication and tubing bending and this and that for NASCAR shops because they're down there in China Grove, right next to NASCAR hub. So I'm sure that with the trucks and anything else, there's the business will always be there, because it's not their only avenue of money. Uh, Great, fun. I love it when those happens. I have to run it. All right, hold on. Let's see if personal opinion, Phantom is going to thrive for a long time. Yes. Yep. I agree. I have to run 10 on the right and 7 on the left. On slicks, I put the treads. It was told to run 8 right or 6 front. Wow. Yeah. See, I don't feel bad, but I don't have a lot of knowledge about treads. I really don't. It was when I was coming into open UAS racing, treads were a real big thing in the day. I never ever got a hold of them. It just, my knowledge wasn't there. It's can I get rid of this? What happens if I do this? I'll just remove. How's that sound? Boom. Nice. Um, so yeah, I don't have a lot of experience with treads. I don't dislike them. It's hard to have an opinion of them. But yes. So here is, somebody asked me one time about treads and air. I think it was recently, but the only thing I can even relate to it is my lawnmower. All right, if you run low air pressure and you studded lawnmower tires, your grip is poop. But when you put air in them, it pushes the lugs into the surface, so you get better grip. So it would make sense to me that you would run more air pressure in them. Um, Plus, they're bigger; they're a little heavier of a tire. All I can go by is theory on them. They're a bit of a heavier tire. They're rotating mass, so you'd want a little more air to help rolling speed and stuff like that. But yeah, it's okay. PDJ, I'm racing MSA and Clone 375 clap. What range do you typically go around to be in with the durometer? 11s, straight up. I guess I haven't punched them. They're, if I had to guess, SS11s are in the 40 to 45 range. But that's my suggestion for I lot here. I'll say this to you. I ran close to 75 the last race at AMS last year, and I got beat by straight up SS11s. Nothing wiped on them. Now I was coming for him at the end, but my cart might have been set up a little better. My handling might have been just a touch better than his. But the kid that beat me, Outman, he was on straight up SS11s, nothing on them. Like they had been surfaced, so just a quick grind on them. Maybe during the day, maybe not, but I wouldn't worry about it. If you're gonna, I wouldn't concern myself with loading your tires with too awful much at AMS, especially 11s. A couple wipes at the track will probably get you by, but durometer, I mean, you can pay attention to it if you want, but honestly, everybody's pretty much on SS11s up until summertime. Then it'll switch once the track gets a bit harder, starts to take a black groove. You're probably going to want to be on 33s. There are going to be times when 33s might be a little better than 11s. There's going to be kind of those in betweeny nights where you could choose either. But I would say that just straight up 11s are going to be pretty good. But I honestly, with I had back there, but I still have last year's set mounted up. I'll probably use them as backup, but I didn't do any more than maybe 2 or 3 wipes at the track of something just to kind of fire them off. And I ran top 5 most nights in it. Um, when I run like 375 class or 400 class. 11s they were last year. Track soft, and especially in the cooler air, the 11s do really really well. I think that I won't say it's 50-50. I'd say it's probably the beginning of the year is definitely probably 80-20 people running 11s to 33s. And then as you get to later in spring, coming on summer, you're gonna, see that split kind of come in between. It's gonna be more 50-50, 11s to 33s. And then like John's race, the AMS, the Bill Layfield Memorial, pretty much everybody's going to be on 33s because the track it's an all-day event. It's usually hot in August. It's going to take a lot of rubber, or at least it did last year, and you're going to want to be on 33s. But yes, I plan to start the season with 11s. I can tell you that. I bought 11s when I was down at JC's, and I plan on running them at the beginning of the year. And I think you'll find that, especially in the cooler weather, the track never really gets that hard. And in the cooler weather, it's going to, it'll take a little more prep to bring in the 33s rather than the 11s are probably going to be good to go, right off the bat. But yeah, I hope that helps. Super hard. What is a max diameter you would target for a super hard dirt track? Usually somewhere between 52 and 60, give or take. There's exceptions to every rule. If it's, black, type of thing, you might, I don't know if it's a Maxxis track or whatever track it is. Or if you're, say, Burris, if you run 55s or something like that, you might not want to be north of 60. But I don't know that I've ever been on track that has literally required an over 60 diameter tire. It doesn't mean that you can't run them. It doesn't mean that, I don't have that much experience to tell you any track or anything like that. But typically 55 diameter, if you were going to go about 55, hard fast track, 55 diameter is probably going to do okay. But definitely if you're talking Maxxis, they need to be heat cycled. um, because I went down and they got to be, a little age to them. Um, they should be heat cycled. They should be aged and allowed to just kind of sit and do their thing, because I went down to the Grand Nationals in 2023 with fairly new Maxis Blues, Pinks and Blues, and I ate the right sides alive. They were far too soft. They were somewhere in the 52, and they chewed up the inside edges pretty good. So I was definitely light on. Uh, are you going to do both classes at the Leaf? I think this year I am, Ernie. Um, it's such a long day. Last year I ran 2 clone classes, and that seemed to occupy my time fine. But I think that, well, it's quarter point too. So I'm gonna get my butt kicked. it, there's no replacement for laps, and I can assure you that Dan Guild is going to whoop me. I don't I don't think that I don't think that I don't think that maybe I don't have the chops anymore, but it's been a long time since I've been fast at that track. And the past 2 years, I really, something happened with the track that lend itself more to the 4 strokes and lend itself more to the way that Dan and Outman are driving it with the 4 strokes, to whereas my skill set with it didn't seem to agree. Now, it may be the way I'm driving the track. It may be the way I'm setting up the 2 stroke. It may there's a bunch of stuff, but my intent is to run there. Is to run both. I'm going to run clone and I'll run the open at that one race. I said I was not never going to do it. My I have a small trailer. I have a 4x8 trailer. I can only bring one cart. Technically, I can bring more carts because I could put the clone in the back of the truck and I can bring the open in the trailer. No problem. I can bring 2 carts, but my intent was to never stress myself out running both classes. I didn't want to ever do that to myself, with the exception of a big race like that, like John's race that takes, like 12 hours to get done. I think I have more than enough time to bring both and, try and compete in them. Uh, Yes, the Reaper's punching 65, I think, and that's too hard even for these Tennessee hard tracks. Yeah, I think so too. I don't know if see. I've had that discussion. Like, if you talk to some people, oh, the Reapers will run, multiple races and this and that, and they might survive it, they might do well. But everything, all the reporting I'm getting back, anybody I've talked to about the Reapers is fresh ones are faster. So fresh ones to me would suggest that they are softer. They have not aged and allowed to be hardened up. So if I were banking, I don't have a brand new set of Reapers. I got 3 or 4 sets of older ones. They're 2023s, and they're all super hard. Uh, but I'm banking on the brand new freshy Reapers are probably somewhere in that neighborhood of 52 to 55, and that's why they're faster. Anything exceeding 60 is going to be tough to get a hold of the track. Um, They'll last a long time, and they may come on like at the end of the run. So if anybody watches NASCAR, when you saw that, like the reds versus the yellows in the long run, when Logano put on the reds and he set sail, he took off and he got, whatever, 4 or 5 second lead on Christopher Bell, but Bell was still on the yellows, the hard compound. Eventually the soft compound would fade and then they would come on. But we're sprint racers, so we only run 20 laps. You don't have that much time to allow that longer duro to, or that harder duro to come in that long of a race. I mean, but that's, it's my opinion. I think that the Reaper is exceptionally hard to drop in durometer. They don't accept prep as well, and that's a good and bad thing. For those people that like to prep like myself, it's difficult to do stuff to them to get the durometer to come down on them. But in general, like a harder durometer, the tire will last longer. And if everybody's on that same tire, that same durometer, then everybody's in the same sort of pickle. So it's not a horrible thing. Uh, and I haven't tried AJC tires. They do look they look like a decent tire to me, though. But there again, like no knocking them or anything. I like Burris and I like Vegas up in New York. We our style of tracks, they lend itself to those style, to whereas the Maxxis, the AJC, and the Reaper tires are all designed similarly to for the harder, faster southern tracks. But another AMS question: in the early spring cooler weather races, what kind of air pressures will you run on? I'll probably start on 3 and 4 uh, air pressure. Um, Somewhere in there. I've gone down to 2 and 3. It's okay, depending on the night and the available grip. But I would probably start with 3 and 4 and see where it goes and make adjustments. And one thing I did find with the clone running it last year compared to the open is um, half pound increments do make a difference. So I'm sure they make a difference in an open, but there's so much horsepower in open that I never noticed like a half pound increment, change. To whereas I just make bigger swings, full pound increments or more than that, a pound and a half change in the tires. To whereas on a clone, you're definitely, you could split the difference. You could go 3.5 to 4, or vice versa. Maybe 3 and 3.5, and it's going to be a viable option for you. I think running pure nitrogen will help the go-kart race. I know professional racing. If you're, I was gonna do a video on it a long time ago. I haven't run nitrogen in a long time. Yes. So if you run nitrogen, what you're taking out of it is the variability of the tire growing or shrinking. They should, in theory, that they won't expand or contract the air on the inside of the tire because it's nitrogen. So what you start with is what you should end with or thereabouts. If you're super hard on your right rear, for instance, and you have standard air in there, the hotter you get your right rear, that tire is going to balloon because the air pressure is going to increase. To whereas nitrogen, that isn't going to happen. So it might be a more reliable source, but you have to repeat it every time. So if you're gonna run nitrogen, run nitrogen. If you're setting up your cart, if you're just running like everybody else and you set your air, just know that, hey, this air pressure made the cart do this at the end of the run, and know that's going to happen. The same with nitrogen. Just, hey, you're running nitrogen. If I start off like this, if it there's no the air pressure isn't going to change the handling of the cart because the nitrogen isn't going to expand or contract the same way. It's just, like I said, I haven't run it in a very long time. I think we played with it a little at the beginning of us racing, but yeah. Oh, one thing I did, I just keep on catching this. I got a T-shirt. Huh? Yeah. Never actually. I decided instead of being I was a Joey Logano fan, and as much as everybody hates Joey Logano, I don't hate him like like those people do. But I would say I'm more. I decided I'm a Ford guy. I have Ford vehicles. I grew up in a Ford family, so I am a supporter of Ford, all the teams. So I have an RFK T-shirt. I have the Snow Gregson for front row, and then yeah, I think I'm going to get Penske. Maybe I'll get a Blaney or something like that. Maybe I'll get a T-shirt that has Blaney on. I'm going to just support the Fords. That's what I'm going to do. Yeah, no, I liked it. I got on Noah Gregson's thing, and it was a rad looking shirt. I generally I like his attitude. I think just he's fun to watch. Some of the old guard, they're fast, they're this and that. Chris Bell is, I've mentioned him a couple times. Obviously, he won 3 straight, but Chris Bell he's doing awesome. But I wish he would uncork the personality if he has it to do it, because that's what I like that. Either be fiery or funny or this or that. It's just like, man, you can. I think people really appreciate when you allow them to get to know you a little better. If you have that in you. And I think it's I think it's fun that that Noah does all the things he did. I obviously follow him on social media, and he's golfing and doing this and that and doing different videos to promote front row motorsports and stuff. I just I find it entertaining. And I like that aspect. I like you tell this part. If it's any if it's any consolation, my my despise for a brand as far as what I do for a living has switched from obviously Ford and Chevy are they're oil and water type of thing that I can't like Chevy and this and that, but I can appreciate a GMC. I think those the Sierras, especially if we're talking about trucks, they're really nice trucks, and I can appreciate that. But when you work on vehicles for a living, my disdain for some of the Dodge engineering, I was just, man, not cool. Not cool, bro. I don't like the way you make your stuff. I really don't. You can be a Dodge fan. It's fine. They look cool. They look cool, but if you got to work on them, it's not my favorite stuff. So I've actually backed off on my disdain for Chevy, and I've gone more for the. I owned a Dodge. I had a Ram 1500. That thing got him in it. I had one of those, uh, and the it dropped the lifter, and I ended up selling it for $500. And I drove a Silverado for a little bit. It did all right. It towed me down to Ohio and back, no problem. 5.3, reliable engine. Okay, cool. Then I had a Frontier. It is what it is. Brad K guy myself. Yeah, yeah, Brad, and I do like Brad, and I love what he did with Roush. So that's you can see, like right there, Mark Martin. My old man was a humongous Mark Martin fan. So always, and when I started following NASCAR, Kurt Busch was my guy, and he ended up winning championship with Roush and everything. And then I love what Brad did when he came in there. I think he wanted to be partners with Penske. Didn't work out. He went over and became partners at what's now RFK with Roush, and he's done great things. I think he's really lifted that team up, and I think it's great. Does Track Tech have any product that helps repel dirt? Actually, the if you just want to use something like the blue tire wash. Hey, hold on. Hey, sorry, didn't mean to do that. But matter of fact, two products here. So where is it? Where does it say? Hey, wait. Oh, right here. So if you can read that, I know it's backwards. I'm sorry, but DRT, dirt repelling technology. If you just want to wipe, clean your tires with TrackTac Blue Tire Wash that has DRT in it, dirt repelling technology. It helps keep the dirt out of the pores of the tire. Also, orange, if you're looking something to fire off your tire, what you're looking for is this with DRT, dirt repelling technology that helps keep the tire cleaner for longer. And but yes, so those two products, you can neither are going to drop the durometer. The blue isn't going to really. I won't say it's not going to do anything for the tire. It's going to do something to the tire. It's not like a chemical to fire off the tire, to whereas the orange is a chemical to fire off the tire. The blue is just going to clean it, and you can kind of load the tire with a little bit of blue tire wash. And what you're going to do is you're going to put more DRT in the tire, and it should help keep dust and crap out of the tire. So there's that. So Dodge is my engineer. I hate Dodge with all my being. It's tough. And you know, it's all they're all have their issues. I'll say that. But we are way past an hour. It's been a riot hanging out with you guys. I appreciate you coming by every Thursday. It amazes me that I can have conversations with words on the screen. I know it's people behind it, but yeah, that's. I thank you very much. So this weekend, I think I'm going to do the video on titanium axles and WKA banning them. Uh, I have some opinions on it. It's worth a discussion. I am going to be doing the Star Pro video pretty soon here. but I'm not quite set up for it yet. So these things, the quick change hubs for the surfacer and the wash bucket and stuff like that. I'm going to do that video. This is probably next week, but I really the titanium axle thing. I just It'd make for I thought it'd make for a good video. I have some opinions on it and maybe some ways that people could consider thinking about it. So that should be coming Sunday. And then yeah, we'll get back together on next Thursday and it's nice to be out in the barn again. I'm very excited about this. So we'll see you guys next week or this weekend and next week. All right. Later.